One. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us here. It's a special edition, I suppose, because we're joined by some experience, and we've got Janet Stanley here and Gordon Gianni Noto. They're a couple, been together a few years, and they've had lots of experiences. And they were fortunate enough to be with myself, Jonathan Webb, and Robert Morningstar, and Robert Vandenbroek, who were live in a Skype chat. And what happened was that through that Skype chat, we asked Robert Vandenbroek if he could have something happen on the cameras live while we were in a Skype. And he took his mobile phone and took photos of his desktop looking at us on the Skype chat. And in among those photos, he manifested many apparitions. He rang me earlier in the afternoon and let me know that he felt that he had two entities around him that were wanting to reach out. He said to me, John, I think there's someone that you know or someone you know that they know, and could I possibly help you? So together we made a live Skype chat, and in that first video you'll see that we had an interaction with a guy called Max Steele. His real name was Tony Diaz. He was a radio host, and he'd been a friend of mine for a few years, and he recently died literally 2 weeks from as we're making this show here with you now. And in that time, I did ask Robert, is it possible that, again, being a spiritual man, being a walk-in, being someone who interacted with phenomenal people and phenomenon in its sense, he had a lot of interactions with Bigfoot, people that dealt with Bigfoot, people that were experiencers of being abducted, people that were star children, people that were not of this earth, in fact. I first introduced myself to Max after hearing him open a craft in Area 51, a bit similar to the Prometheus movie today, where there was a point where one of the droids goes into a UFO and he manages to switch on a holographic image where the previous occupant is using it. Well, that's how Max used to do it in his remote viewing techniques, and so he didn't ever have to go to Area 51. He could stay at home in North Carolina, and with his mind he could go back in time and see the occupants use the craft, and then give that information, relay that forward, and they'd get into them. So I always found him a fascinating chap, and I knew him for many years, and I knew his wife, Nicole. And but as I say, recently he passed, and so I put it to Robert Vandenbroek, that I believe that he may well reach out, And a week later, Robert rings me and says, John, I've got two spirit gentlemen here, and they need to get their message out. So can you help me? And that's where we arrived at making videos live on the Skype chat. And lo and behold, Max turns up in one of these images. And it was outstanding. Again, it's a phenomenon. It's real. It was filmed live, not just in photographs, but in video. So we have a sequence that we can put together and bring that forward. In the afternoon after that incident, Robert told me there's still one more entity that needs to be sort of put forward. And I said, well, let's bring him on camera. Let's see if this entity will come forward. And so Robert, very forward and openly sort of agreed, and we went online. We went, set our cameras up, started a new Skype chat, and I filmed him live in his living room, and he was filming away and snapping away, and then he, on the same shot, brings the camera towards his phone camera towards the camera of Skype that I'm watching, and there are lots and lots of photos, a genuine, original, new photographs, unseen photographs of JFK, the President of America, who's come through, just like in the past, Princess Diana of England had come through to Robert. And in this occasion, it was about 30, it was 30 separate individual photographs of John F. Kennedy, looking about 35, young, very happy, smiley. They were full color. They were almost HD looking. They look like he's here, but you'll see these photos at some point, and you'll be able to tell. And then, if that wasn't enough, cherry on the cake or icing on the cake, then when we deliver these photographs, because the person that appeared JFK, Robbert said, it's someone that you know, John, and the only person that came to mind for me at the time was someone who studied JFK vigorously for many, many years, about the death of JFK, about his message, about what he wanted to do, and his assassination, and all those around him that were involved. And as soon as we delivered these photos to Robbert Morningstar, he was shocked, because he said, John, I've seen many, many photos, but I've never seen these before. And they're in absolute crystal clear quality. Every single photo is a separate individual photo of the gentleman. And they're smiling. And he says, John, he looks like he's laughing at us. He's smiling and laughing with us. And it was an amazing experience. And still at that time, Gordon and Janet, who's here with us now, they joined us in the Skype chat. And through that session, we were introduced to more ETs. There was one I remember calling in a prayer and asking, look, if there are other beings that need to come through now, and we've got others that are joined in this chat, and you need to speak to them, please come through. And then Robbert took some more snaps on the camera towards the Skype camera so we could see. And then a small alien appeared. And Janet, you knew that alien, didn't you?
Yes, I've been dealing with the ET since I was 5 years old.
Amazing. But anyway, guys, it's not my show. It's Robbert Vandenbroek. So I'm going to hand you over to Robbert and let you carry on, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Johny, for your introduction. It's, of course, our show. It was our experience. We have experienced lots of special things. What I remember is that I was get a strong feeling that I must call you. And I was remember that Johny was asking me, maybe you can ask Max Steele to come and give a message or show himself up on the camera. And then I was feel that I must call you. And when we was talking with each other, I was make live a picture when Johny Webb was watching right in the camera, and he was also see the lens and everything, that nothing was hold before or no trickery was possible. And I was make pictures, and we was watching back, and I was hold the screen from my smartphone for the camera, for the webcam. And we will see immediately that Max Steele was on the Skype screen, appear on the Skype screen from Johny. And it was so clear that it is Max Steele. Max Steele have done an interview with me and with Johny, I think a couple of months ago. And yeah, he was living on, Max Steele was his name. Max Captain Steele was his name on the radio, but his real name was, Johny, can you tell it again?
Tony Diaz.
Yes, and he was also working as a bodyguard for persons like Dolly Parton and other famous persons. He was a big giant, tall man, but very sensitive. He was so sensitive that he was the type of man, when he see a little sick bird on the ground, he was take it, and he was very sweet, and he was having contact also with Sasquatch and with extraterrestrials. And later in his life, he was make his coming out that he have contact with extraterrestrials, and he was coming, of course, from out more a macho world, but he was having the strength on to tell that he was having contact with extraterrestrials, and that he was working on an astral level for Area 51. And he was a wonderful person. I remember me that I was talking with him on the show, and that we was having a sort of after party, after talk, after the show, and that he was say, I can let you time travel, and he was do whoop, so this to me through the screen. I would see a flash of light, and I was go away, and I was going back, and I was totally one with him. A very special, legendary person, Max Steele, and God bless his soul. And I know that he is in the light now. I'm very happy. I was see that he was playing with animals, playing with children, in a very beautiful rainbow world with lots of colors, sweetness, and also such was there, to say thank you for all the things that he was done, and also extraterrestrials, and but he is in the light, but he was coming down to the earth to say hello again to us and to his wife Nicole, and he have a very great wife. She's a very sweet, sensitive person. They was very close with each other, close connection, and thank God that Max was working through my mediumship and say hello again and prove that life is not a biologic accident, but life has a reason, and that life is spirit. And it was so beautiful. So that was the first thing. And after that, I will still stay on Skype with Johny, and then I was feel a male energy, and I was not realized that it was JFK, that it was John F. Kennedy, but I was feeling male energy. And I was also thinking on Robert Morningstar. I remember him very good. I was do a couple of interviews he was do with me with his radio program. He have lots of knowledge from parapsychologic research. He is, but he is doing for years now lots of research to the assassination from John F. Kennedy. Very professional research, very high top research. And I will say to people, it's very interesting to follow his research. It shows that what the mainstream media shows that lots of things was not the truth about his assassination. Sorry. I was feel that I must make pictures, and I was constantly live with Johny. Dus he can see that I not do trickery or whatever.
You can see this over my shoulder here. This is one of the images that I'm using as a
Yes,
background at the minute. But
exactly.
there's Mr. Kennedy, and this guy turned up in 30 photographs live on Skype as we were recording, not just with myself as a witness, but with Robert Morningstar. Sorry, it was just myself at that time. It was when I introduced Robert to these photographs and told him that what has just happened 5 minutes before. With him now seeing this, he's like, well, I'd like to see more. Is there anything more? So we took more photos, and then instead of JFK coming back, we had a new entity turn up, and it was a little, my understanding is they're called a yayal. It's a certain kind of creature. They're very sweet, very loving. This thing was blended into a photo that Robert Vandenbroek had taken of Robert Morningstar while he was projecting his own image through Skype. And so there is no way to fake this. There is no way to have a mobile phone, I understand, that can do any kind of Photoshop. Certainly not in a few seconds of holding it in front of the camera anyway. And what was clear was that within this photograph of the desktop looking at Robert Morningstar in his home camera back in New York, right behind his shoulder was this little grey. And,
yeah, so sweet. Yeah, it was very sweet. And also when I was make pictures, I was feel some energy in a direction in my living room, and then I was turning the camera, my webcam, to that point, and I was walking to that point. So I was constantly live. I was constantly live on air, and Johny Webb was following me constantly through his Skype, and then I was make pictures, and you will see when we was watching back immediately live on the camera, you will see immediately JFK, John F. Kennedy.
This fella here.
Yes, on the background you see an image from it, very clear. I can understand when people see this that they think, now this cannot be real. This is this they make up the story. But when I'm lying here, God have the right to punish me. It's real, it's true. We was all experienced it. We can only say we was having this experience, and I know that I have since 2004 the gift to make pictures from dead persons, from angels, from extraterrestrials, and I've been tested under very strict scientifically conditions. I will say also to people, watch the documentary from Dendration. You see that they have tested me on the strict conditions. It was sometimes very boring for me to do this sort of tests, but I'm happy now with the results that people can see that I'm not an ordinary charlatan that make fun about dead people. It's serious, and I feel also that John F. Kennedy will send a message that more things will coming out about his assassination, more reports will coming out about his assassinations. Also, President Trump have show some report, and some things will coming out about his assassinations that shows people that we not get all the time the truth through the mainstream media, and also that a lots of lies. Now we come in a time that a lots of lies about secret groups that doing satanistic things, pedophile things, very nasty things on a very high elitary, high class level. That we coming now in a time that they will be unmasked, that God is coming closer, and that lots of untruthful things coming out, and that's very important. That's also one of the messages from JFK, that we go now more to a time from disclosure, but first lots of lies must be cleaned up, and he's also working on it many times. Very good persons, very good leaders that will do something good for the world. Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy. In the Netherlands, we was having Pim Fortuyn. He was also a very charismatic, very sensitive political leader. All the time, people, they assassinate him, and that's not the work from one person. There is more behind it, and it's they will look like, oh, it is one person, but there is more than we can see with us naked eyes that's going on behind the curtains. And the extraterrestrials will help us also, planetary, on that point. But later, we was on Skype. We was going on Skype with Robbert Morningstar, the JFK assassination expert and radio host. It's not by accident that the message was also for Robbert Morningstar from JFK, and the reason is that that Robbert Morningstar is very close by the truth, coming very close by the truth about the assassination from JFK. But what also was very interesting, then we was sitting on Skype with Robbert Morningstar, with help me with the names, I'm not good in remember names, this very sweet lady that's sitting.
Janet and Gordon Giannotti Noto.
Yes, exactly. They was also on Skype. They are a wonderful couple, and we was talking with each other, and Johnny was asking me, can you do it now again, Robert? Can you show something now, real life on this moment? And I know that the other world we cannot push it, but I was thinking, yeah, when it is now happening, when he asked me, then people see that it is no trickery. And I was making pictures live, and then there was show up live on the screen by Robbert Morningstar in the screen, a little gray, and it was on the camera. And when I was watching back in the files from my smartphone, the picture was disappeared from the alien, but we have it on tape that I hold it before, that I was give a slideshow from all the pictures, and then you see the alien around Robbert Morningstar. And yeah, it's very interesting. Want
Janet,
it was
you were there, and you were the first one to notice it. Tell us your experience.
Yeah.
yes, thank
And
you.
also,
Yeah.
Janet, tell us, you've just met Robert in the last couple of days. You didn't even really know much about Robert. Tell us what your impression is.
Well, I had talked to Robert a bit in the past, and
Yes, true.
yeah. But anyway, Johnny was saying a really nice prayer of other entities coming in, and we were mentioning about all of my contacts with the ETs and how I was in their hybrid program. Well, that's where, after he's starting to take pictures, I noticed right behind Robbert Morningstar was a clear little ET. Those are the ones I've dealt with, and I was really happy. It was like better than any present I've ever gotten, is to be able to see that ET come through. And I thought I knew it was real, and it was really wonderful. I'm amazed what Robbert can do, and it's thrilling.
Thank you. Yeah, and it was also, you was recognized also, the creature. I remember.
Yeah, I did. And just it was such a phenomenon. I mean, I was just like, for 2 or 3 days, I was just in awe, and I was really excited. I said, you couldn't even pay for something like that. You couldn't. Money would not buy something that
No,
exciting.
I understand exactly what you mean. Yes, yes.
And I feel they're my family anyway. So it was like, this was just one other way I get to see my family.
Yes. Are you trying to find something, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm just looking for the photos now. Just give me
Ah, yeah,
one.
yeah. I think that it's nice for the people, also for the public, that they see the picture from the creature. And Johnny is trying to found it now.
Go. So I hope that you can see this. This was the shot. This was the live shot from Robert's camera on his Skype. Robert's at home taking snapshots of his desktop of the Skype, and then this little being here turned up in the shot. So that's a little character. And Janet,
We don't see it. I don't see it.
We don't see it, Johnny.
No,
Oh,
no,
really? Okay,
no.
sorry. Give me a second. I'm going to share the whole screen.
No, I just turned it down a lot.
Okay, so this was the camera shot in its entirety. Do you see that? Do you see the screen now, guys?
No,
Yeah.
I don't see anything.
I see the screen now. Yes, yes, with the little creature.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yes.
Okay, give us a second, Janet.
Okay.
So for those that are watching the video, that was the little creature there that popped in. And it was only in one shot. And what Robert's doing there with his fingers is he's just sliding them through. And
There it is. What?
but,
There it is. That's it.
okay, but now the interesting thing is that in sliding through the cameras, we see the creature once in one shot. It doesn't appear again. And when we download the images, it's just not there. Now, that was an interesting case, but what became even more interesting was what we were just discussing, which was that there are other entities coming into this sort of experience with Robert. And one of them was, he mentioned JFK, and these are the images here as they came through. That was Max Steele down here. This is a friend of mine, looking younger, big mop of hair like I always knew him to have. And again, this was in an image of Robert taking across Skype, looking at me, and this gentleman appeared, and I knew straight away who that was. He looked just like my buddy. This is the images you can see here of JFK looking incredibly young and crystal clear and happy and smiling, and this is the transformation of him as they came through in Robert's shots that I filmed him live looking at his curtains. There was no one there. I was snapping away with my own camera, and I couldn't see JFK, but I could certainly see Robert snapping away. And he brought that camera straight back to the screen and showed the images and slid them along, and all of a sudden, up come these 30 images of JFK, transforming, coming in and out of dimension, but always smiling. And like I say, I introduced these photos to Robert Morningstar, and he was out, astounded by them. He said that they're individual, unique pictures that he's never seen. I don't believe they're in any public domain, and for me, it's overwhelming. Robert?
Yes, thank you, Johnny. Yes, it's for me also overwhelming. I'm a little bit how you say that, used to, I know how it's working now through all the years, and I make pictures also with analogic cameras, with rolls in it, old-fashioned cameras, and also the same things are happening, and also with digital cameras. And this time it was with a smartphone. And you remember also that I was also make with your camera last summer also pictures with uh, Art Bell on it, and you was
Yeah.
hand me your camera, you was give me your camera, you was filming it immediately, and I was make pictures, and radio host Art Bell was coming on the camera, and it was your camera, and then trickery is not possible. And we was see last summer, both Johnny and I, how a crop circle was appear out of the blue, right for us naked eyes. And I'm very happy that Johny Webb, radio co-host from Dr. G Radio Live, was there, and was see it also. Same like Nancy Talbot, scientific researcher, that was see also that a crop circle was forming behind the house from my parents when I was still living there. And that makes it for me more easier when in the beginning lots of farmers and people in the village was thinking that I was making the circles. And I'm when people are a little bit intelligent and they make study from the reports and all the witnesses, they know that I don't make the circles and that something real is going on. But maybe we can then we was talk. I must switch back to the when we were sitting on Skype. Then I was talking again with Robert Morningstar and with Janet and Johnny, and then I was make pictures, hold my camera in this way, this direction, filming constantly. Skype was filming constantly me, and then some sort of strange creature was appear, also a sort of reptile like creature. Maybe you can show that also, Johnny, what was happening then.
Sure, yeah. Give me a second.
That's okay.
So, it looked like this creature here. I'm just going to share my desktop a second. Give me. This was the creature that looked, I thought, familiar to the creature that appeared with Robert Vandenbroek. This was a front cover image of a friend, Preston Dennett, and his new book
Yes.
had this image that I felt was very similar. But then, like you say, Robert, after this experience, and I do want to go back to this because I know Janet's had a personal experience with these beings. But to go forward with what we were talking about, these other images, this is Princess Diana there, but this creature turned up, and
Yeah.
we found it quite strange, but not menacing. Not initially the first word I thought someone said was demon, but I didn't really feel demon. This
No.
I found the back of this head, or whether he's looking down, maybe I don't know, or whether it looks like the back of a head. But this line of what would be like a sort of horn, or it reminds me a bit reptilian in that sense.
Yes. Yes. I think a sort of reptilian.
But obviously, you work with a lot of different dimensional beings and spiritual
Exactly.
entities. What's your initial thought of this, Robert, when you see this?
Yeah, it's one of the many creations from God. It's some creature that exists in the universe, and lots of races from extraterrestrials show themselves. This is one race. It looked like a little bit reptile creature, and I know that there are lots of negative stories about reptiles, but it will not mean that they are all negative. You know, you have also lots of bad humans, but that
Exactly.
but it will not mean that all the humans are bad. You know, this it's everybody is a person, and it's very personally. And this creature was showed himself, and this little sweet creature, this little sweet goofy creature, was show himself, yeah, behind your shoulder from Robbert Morningstar. And it's very sweet. It will say, yeah, hello to the people, and prepare the people for the extraterrestrial contact. And disclosure will come closer.
Just looking at the detail, you know, of the image, how it just blends together, you know, and the colours. You know, I found these colours very unique to the image that we see here. With again, I love these images of Princess Diana that appeared in your home in Hooven.
Yes, this is Princess Diana, but this is a long time ago. This was not now happening. This was happening years ago, but it was very special for me.
But look at the colours here around, the purples, the blues, the greens, the indigo, what is turquoise almost, you know. And I find this in the image here as well, you see.
Yes, yes, many times you see the aura around it, the energy vibration around the image. Yes.
So I'd like to bring in again Janet and Gordon. You know, Janet, you've like you said, you're in a hybridization program, which means that you were abducted on several occasions, and I don't say abducted lightly, but you were taken in some cases and free willingly went over the years, and you have many children that live on board craft, you say, and that you are regularly taken and reintroduced to your hybrid children. Could you tell us a little bit more about your experience and, you know, a bit about yourself?
Well, yeah. I'm now 65, but when I first started having the experiences was when I was age 5. And I was in my room one morning, and I woke up, and I always loved cats, and I had a black cat. And I was watching it, and all of a sudden it switched to an ET. And so I thought, well, that creature's really cute. And then I'm back to the black cat. So I feel that that's when my experiences began. And I always did love UFOs at a young age. I would tell everybody I was going to get my spaceship back and go to the moon with my animals. And that was the thing I wanted to do my whole life. And so I had a lot of experiences starting at 17. And I would be pregnant. Well, after that, when I got married at 23, but I would be pregnant, but never have the child, but I'd have an afterbirth. And that's when I started the hybrid program. And over the years, I've been up on the ships and met my children and held them, and they've taken me for rides on spaceships. And now, the last time I really remember going up, I was in their school. I went to their school, and they're looking more and more like us all the time. For a while, they were really like grays with just a few blonde hairs sticking out. Now they've become more and more human-like, and the eyes are becoming more human, and they're very intelligent, very sensitive, telepathic. And I feel the hybrid program has come a long way. And I feel they're actually walking amongst us. I can almost point out sometimes in a crowd who some of these children were or are, because the way they look at me, it's like an all-knowingness. And it's like I know who they are, they know who I am. And we could be in the middle of the city and just know that who we are, each other is. and it's the way they look at me with their eyes, and pretty much telepathy, you know, speaking telepathically. And I've always loved my UFO experiences. I've never not liked one of them. I've loved them all.
Yeah, that's so. I'm so happy that you say that, and I'm totally agree with you. I never feel me sad after when I was on board from a spaceship, when I was go with the spaceship, and when aliens was take me in the spaceship. It was almost a near-death experience. I was so happy, so happy. I
felt like I was meeting with Jesus or something, you know, highly spiritual leaders.
Yes.
Unconditional love, like I'd never get. I mean, never feel that on Earth from Earthlings, like I do in space.
Yes. I understand.
And I always feel that, and it's just so magical and so wonderful, and you just know that they're always. I know they're always there for me, and it never fails on Christmas. They always come and see me, and I really like that because they know I really love Christmas.
Yeah,
and they'll come in a ship. They'll come by ship, or they'll let I'll just know that they're there. But mostly through their ships, they'll come overhead and stay there and let me know. They'll come in a dream the night before and tell me they'll be there.
Oh, how sweet. They never leave alone, and they know that, that you can count of them, that they are around you, and it's so beautiful. It's a blessing, and I'm so happy that you live in nature in a nice place, It's where you are safe, one with the elements.
See, where I live, we have underground metals of gold and silver, and it makes a portal for these entities to come through.
I understand.
As well. Yeah. And it makes it a lot of people around here are psychic. What? The first gold mines in North America are 5 miles from us.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very special here.
I think that Johny and I must fly over, to...
We would love it if we have plenty of place for you guys to build in the woods, over by the ocean views. We haven't built a guest house yet, but that doesn't mean you can't. We got plenty of trees. We got plenty of granite.
Wow.
That's already dug up. You get a panoramic views of all the offshore islands and mountains, and there's underground alien bases out there, underwater alien bases out there off the water there that you can see.
I believe you. Yes.
And the fishermen, when I was growing up, they used to the ships used to go underwater, and the fishermen would think they were in distress, boats in distress. They'd go to rescue them, and they'd shoot off into the sky. So this has been going on as long as I remember.
Wow. Very interesting.
But it's so nice to have somebody like you and Johny, all over the world to get in contact with and
Thank
be able
you.
to speak
But we
about
are also happy with you, you have also a lot to do, and we found it very interesting to listen to you and to listen to your knowledge, what you have since you was 5 years old. It's very interesting. Yes. Very interesting.
And they have healed me so many times, of different problems, health problems, mostly with my depression from just losing loved ones, or I would get very depressed because I'm very psychic. So sometimes when you're very psychic, almost the person that dies, it's like a real part of you has disappeared,
Yes, I know.
So they've helped me a lot with that by unconditional love. They've actually healed me many times. They go in hospitals with me. I always know they're right there. I see them going through the walls.
Wow. This is so
they don't leave. They told me they'd always be with me. Always.
Wow. This gives so much rest when you tell this. I think this is a very important message for lots of people, that we are never alone, and it's so blessing that you can see it, and the unconditional love many people don't have that, and they just people, this is wrong, this is wrong. This unconditional love, and you are hypersensitive. I'm also, and then life can damage you sometimes terrible. And this, creatures that help you, it saves your life. It saves your life. I know exactly what you mean.
Right.
I'm so happy that you experienced this.
Thank you. And sometimes I actually will come up to my face and actually go within my body and do the healing and then come back out.
Yes, yes. Wow, that's beautiful. That's a sort of walking in, but then on healing walking in.
Yeah.
Walking in. Yeah, walking in. Yes, yes. Walking in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, God bless
This means a lot to me to be on this show. I really appreciate it. I love to share what I've learned. And I don't really live in a place, a lot of us don't, where we can just talk freely and share it. We kind of like, but nobody really cares if you try to speak out. We have friends like you and Johnny, and Gordon has his radio show, and we meet people that way. But as far as in your own neighborhood, even though around here on this mountaintop and the people that live on the ridge and things like that, they've had many sightings of ETs because they seem to hang around here.
Yeah, wow. I think that...
but they don't put two and two together so well, but still they can't help but know what they've seen. Exactly,
I understand. Yes. It makes me very interesting in the place where you live,
Well, come on over.
Yeah.
I mean, really, this place is meant for very spiritual people. This place is meant for people to really pick up on any and heighten any of their spiritual awareness or psychic abilities. Or it's a very the red paint people, the Native Americans, used to come up here because it was 10,000 years ago, because they worship up here because it was such a high energy positive spot.
Yes.
With all the crystals in the granite, and they placed rocks that look like different animals in different power spots up here.
Yeah.
Big boulders, we can't move them, but I don't know, the ETs must have helped to move them.
Yes, I'm sure that's very...
This is a very special place. It was almost meant to be. I would have never met Gordon if it hadn't been through the ETs. They brought us together.
Oh wow, that's nice. Yeah, then
we would have never met.
Wow, that's cool.
But even as a child, when people would go, "Hey, Janet, what planet are you on?" They must have sensed something about me.
I understand. Yeah, they think, where she's come from, what's her origin, what's I understand that. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, again, thank you, Janet, for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Janet, and thank you, Johnny. Thank you very much. And I hope that it opened the eyes from people and that they realize that there is hope for the world.
Again, thank you, Robbert, for inviting us.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
And Gordon says thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.